didn't know, um, oh, Dr. Mike. Dr. Mike is sitting in the building.
Hellos, hellos.
Hey, what's up, Dr.
What's
Mike?
going on? What's going on?
Nothing much, man. I want to say welcome to the Fight Lounge and Happy Punch tour space.
All right, thanks for having me. I'm excited to chat boxing.
Yeah, man. Like it's been rumors for so long, and now it's finally confirmed. I think that's we're all just happy.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I've been wanting to fight for a while, but as you know, like creating a fight, making an event, joining an event, all of it is always difficult, and finding the right chemistry between fighters is always tough, especially when you're not as experienced as I am. But luckily, we're able to do it, and now I think we're going to put on a tremendous event.
Okay, man. Keem and Fuzi should be joining us shortly, but if it's all right with you, man, I'm going ahead and get started because I have a couple
Yeah,
questions
please.
I want to ask you, man. The first one, how did the Idubbbz versus you fight even come about?
Well, like I said, I've been training and looking for a fight for probably around 6 months now. And I saw on social media some folks tagging me that Idubbbz was challenging Rice Gum to a fight and it wasn't happening. And after I posted my video that I filmed with Ryan Garcia, that I was interested in boxing, folks were like, well, why don't you fight Idubbbz? So I threw a comment down on his YouTube video and on Twitter, and then we started chatting on Discord, and lo and behold, we're able to make it happen. So I think that's like the beauty of social media. You know, we always talk about the negatives, but I think folks connecting and making really special things happen is one of the big plus sides.
Basically, you shot your shot and you got the
Exactly.
fight.
Yeah. We slid in each other's DMs to box. That's probably not a way that most people think about DMs.
Hey, but you got the fight to happen.
Exactly.
Okay, man. So let's talk about a little bit about your opponent, Idubbbz. How you think his strategy is going to be against you?
Well, you know, it's funny. I actually have no idea. Like for me, I have some videos out of me boxing, at least training. I haven't seen anything. I think Idubbbz is being really strategic with his approach here and not posting any footage or videos here for me to see what he's doing. And I think that makes it cool because it makes it more challenging. You never know what you're gonna get. Like I basically don't even know if he's a southpaw or a traditional fighter. So, like, I'm excited to see what kind of strategy he comes in with. You know, I have a tremendous amount of respect for Idubbbz because he's put together this event along with the entire team that's been working on the event. Anissa has been helping him, working him side by side. Justin, Mike, the boxing promoter. So I'm frankly, I don't know what to expect. I think that's the bottom line. And I think as a new fighter, you probably shouldn't lean on trying to read your opponent too early on, because I think you have to develop your own sort of strategy on how to deal with different fighters. And that's sort of the approach that I'm taking.
Okay, let's speak about a little bit about your camp. Can you tell us who your coaches are?
Yeah, my coach is Thomas Baldwin. Like I said in my video, and I feel like it's almost gotten taken out of context or come off as overconfident that I've been boxing for 10 years. When I say that I've been boxing for 10 years or over 10 years, what I'm really talking about is fitness boxing. It was basically like a way that I stayed in shape, working on pads, hitting the heavy bag, doing it once or twice a week pretty consistently because I found it to be a great source of exercise, fitness, stress relief, all those good things. And in fact, people would ask me, like, you're a doctor, like, aren't you wary of the negative effects of boxing? And I would say, oh, I'm just doing it, you know, to stay in shape. So that's what I was doing for 10 years with Thomas Baldwin. And he's a New York Golden Gloves winner. He's a pro in his own right. I've been to his pro fights in the past and lost my voice because watching someone fight who you actually care about or know personally is a completely different ball game than watching a random professional fight who you even are a fan of. So I've been training really hard with him. I have some folks that are helping me with the conditioning side of things from boxing science. I have some nutritionist folks that are helping me out with my dieting because I need to lose some weight for the fight. I've come down all the way from probably 208 and I'm probably around 195 right now, and I have like 5 more pounds to lose before the fight comes. So I've been working on that, in addition to my day job of being a doctor and making YouTube content and all that other good stuff.
Why does
King was in the
Ryan
building.
Garcia? I'm sorry. Why does Ryan Garcia say you're the best YouTuber boxer? Like, what is he talking
Well,
about? What did he
Ryan
see?
Garcia is the master of hyperbole. I think he also like came out and said like Logan Paul is going to destroy Mayweather, and he likes saying those kind of statements to hype up the people who he trains with, which is nice, right? Because like if you're training with a pro boxer, they say something nice about you. It's exciting. Um, I don't know. I hope he saw some, I guess, passion in my eyes of the sport. He saw some skill. In fact, the reason why I'm even taking this as seriously as I am has been on the word of my trainer, who's been telling me that he thinks I'm good enough to take this seriously. And I had to give up college sports because of my medical school journey. I had like one of these 7-year medical programs where we took so many credits that it disqualified you from like the NCAA rules. And I was like a big athlete. I wanted to do sports my whole life and I never got the chance. So I'm kind of like the old guy in the room now at 32 trying to make it pro.
That's amazing. So I have to ask the same question that I asked Ian or Idubbbz. If you walk away with the win in this event, what's next? Do you see yourself like being on a card with some other influencers like KSI, the Pauls, something? Is this something you really want to
I
pursue?
think that's a realistic possibility, but at the same time, I don't know. I've never been in a professional fight atmosphere. I watched Frank Gore fight, and after the fight, they both were like, "No, we're not doing this again. This was terrible. Like, this was a one and done for me." And I get that. I can see how that could happen too. But for me, I'm training as if I have some legs in my boxing career. I'm hoping to take this a little bit further and seeing how far I can go. And so far, I think that there is a potential future here based on at least what others are saying.
Do you have any concern for your opponent at all? Like we know Idubbbz as a content creator. We know him as a YouTuber. We've never seen him box before, and many of your fans probably know you as a TV personality. They can't imagine this either, right? So for us, it's like, yeah, yeah, right. Idubbbz is going to box, but what we're hearing on the street, because this is Happy Punch, and we're trying to get as much information, is that he's actually really good. Have you heard that as well?
I have, and I believe it. I mean, he's dedicated himself very heavily to the sport. I think when your mind is that passionate about anything, you can become really good at a given task. So, frankly, I have no idea what to expect. I think he's going to be really good. Even watching his short clip that he posted on his announcement video, he looks sharp. He knows what he's doing. He's rotating with his punches. He's not taking this as a joke. Like I've watched some of the other boxing events, and to be honest, I've been left kind of disappointed. I'm watching people headbutt each other and do all this nasty stuff. And I'm like, come on, this isn't what it's about, because we're giving boxing a bad name as influencers. So when Idubbbz told me how serious he was about making this event respectful to boxing, that's what really connected us to make this event happen.
Yeah, I mean, the last event with Showstar, I know Fight Lounge has something to say too. I mean, that was the worst event ever involving influencers as far as
Facts.
respect towards boxing.
Yeah, and they reached out to both Ian and myself to be on those cards and fight there, and we turned them down because we both didn't think that they had it together. And it turned out to be very true. Actually, Idubbbz and I were chatting about it as the event was going live, of how disappointed we were that was happening, and hopefully wouldn't sour people's taste for influencer boxing, because what we have, I think, is really special and unique.
Yeah, that's what I was going to tell King. Like K, the Showstar guy, he was on IG and he was trying to call me, and I was like, dude, I'm getting ready to do the tour space, and he basically want to clear the air. He says he's not getting fired. He owns it, so he might be coming back on tour space one day this week. But that's Showstar as a whole nother can of worms. One thing I do want to ask you, Dr. Mike, what is your connection with Most Valuable Promotions? Because we saw you in the gym with Amanda. They follow you on IG. Just recently today, we learned that MVP is not advising Al Wasabi. So, what's your connection with MVP?
Well, I would love to know what advising Alex Wasabi actually means, because it almost sounded like a signing, but it wasn't actually a signing. For me, my connection with them is through Amanda Serrano. We reached out to film with Amanda Serrano because she trains out of New York, Brooklyn, where I actually grew up. And we actually shot a video with her. She's amazing and a total rock star, underrated, doesn't get nearly enough attention. And for me to be able to spend time with her in the ring, the place where we actually did our little mini sparring sesh, if you will, was in Staten Island, literally 10 blocks away from where I went to high school. So it was surreal to be able to be with a world champion boxer and spend time with her and see how she trains, have her trainer kind of give me an overall opinion of how he thinks I'm coming along. That was really cool. And I think that's as far as my relationship with them goes.
If I could take 2 seconds here, guys, normally I do this at the very beginning, but I showed up late today. My bad. If everyone could take 2 seconds, go to the top of the Twitter Spaces, hit the share button, share this out to your other followers. Let's fill up the room here as we're getting the inside scoop with Dr. Mike, who is facing Idubbbz in the Creator Clash. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it's May 14th.
Correct.
That's right. Yep, in Tampa, Florida. Yeah, it's gonna be big, man. One thing I do want to talk about is Sam Hyde. I think King told me you wouldn't have a problem with Sam Hyde on the card. Is that correct?
I don't know who Sam Hyde is, and I'm being honest here. I hope that's not offensive to Sam Hyde, but I don't know. I don't know where that rumor started. Someone also asked me about that on Discord if I had an issue with Sam Hyde. I have no idea what that's about.
It's a big issue right now in the influencer world, in in that community that knows Sam Hyde or
Uh-huh.
whatnot, because Sam Hyde's been trying to get on the card. He is a edgy comedian, and Idubbbz was on the Twitter Spaces the other night, and he basically said, "Hey, look, we can't have Sam on because Dr. Mike would not be on the card with someone like that." He said something along those lines, and so a lot of people want to hear from you. Is that true? Would you leave the card if Sam Hyde was on
I
there?
mean, I have no idea who Sam Hyde is. If Idubbbz is saying that, maybe he was aware of the fact that I would love to keep this event clean and not get it into controversy. Like so much of the influencer boxing world is predicated on, oh, we're going to become businessmen and we're going to rock it and make millions and we're going to be controversial, and like that's cool, respect to you, that's the way they do it. But I feel like there's a unique way to approach it that we're doing it, where you could do the charitable angle, you could show people that there's a more fun side to this that's equally as entertaining but not as negative as some of the other boxing events.
Yeah, I think that was a good answer, and that kind of coincides with what Idubbbz was saying. Um, a lot of the talking points from Idubbbz and from you and a lot of people in this event is that, hey, we don't want to be like those other guys. I think it doesn't really matter. This community, the people that like influencer boxing, they're gonna watch the events no matter what. I don't think it's as big as a deal as a lot of people are saying. I mean, look, the last event was horrible, right? It was insane, but at the same time, everybody's paying to watch that. Like they would pay to watch it again. It's just the way it is. It's the entertainment world.
Yeah, look, I get it. Everyone has their own strategy of how to make these things work. For us, this is the way we chose to do it. And I'm actually really happy that this is the way we chose to do it, because I always thought that you had to be controversial and argue with people. And it's nice, not having to do that and take the charitable angle here and do it the right way. Like, we've already established that this is going to be a charity event, but each of the fighters will be making some money, mostly to subsidize their costs. But I'm subsidizing my own costs and donating my entire purse that I will earn from the fight to the Ukraine conflict. So, like, if we could do something good with it, have fun, but really put on a good show. Like, I really can't underscore how hard I've been training for this. Like, this is something I've really committed time to. I think Idubbbz can attest to the fact that he's committed a ton of time to this. We're not just trying to do like a charity silly boxing event. We're really showing up to fight. And I think people on May 14th are going to be pleasantly surprised to see the level of competitiveness that you'll see out of our card.
I don't think that's in question at all. I think, based on just the research from Drama Alert and Happy Punch, we know that you guys are actually trying to actually fight and that this isn't going to be a circus. But what about the trash talk? I mean, so much of selling a fight is the promo of the fight, right? Like having two athletes go out there is one thing, but you're trying to pull from the entertainment world, right? And so it's like you need that WWE trash talk to promote a fight. Are you guys worried that, you know, just based on skill alone and athleticism or whatever, that this might not sell the fight?
I don't concern myself with that too much. If anything, I'm going to be the good guy in this event. I think Idubbbz, if he would like, he's going to carry the bad guy card in this event and maybe challenge me later down the line with some trash talk. But look, I'm all for it as long as it's respectful. Like, you know, telling me that you're going to beat me up inside the ring is fair game. But when people start attacking families and the stuff that we've seen in the UFC, and it just gets so ridiculous that I think it becomes distasteful. Forget about whether or not it becomes watchable. But I hope that no event that I'm a part of ever descends into that.
So quick question. So you and Idubbbz, that is a pro fight, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so no head guards at 190?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. We're doing it for real. Uh, Again, this is going to be a competitive thing. Like we're both sparring regularly. We're not just hitting pads to make it look cool. Like this is the real deal. And I think both, you know, what's interesting is, we're always talking about who's going to win the fight. And I think the reality is if we're both been training as hard as we have been, there's a reality that even if the person who loses the fight can go on to have a successful influencer boxing career. And we've seen that with other influencer boxers who've lost fights and continue to do well. So I think that there's always going to be room for improvement. Obviously, I hope the winner is going to be me in this fight, but remains to be seen.
I really believe your fight is going to be similar to Kenny versus Temper, but I'm not sure who comes out on top because I know how serious you and Idubbbz have taken this, and I think we're actually going to see some good boxing skill. I don't know who wins the fight because both of you, it's the first time we've seen you in the ring. And we've been hearing rumors from both camps that you guys are both really, really, really good. Let me ask you this. Have you trained with anybody else that's going to be on the card?
No, I haven't seen anyone else that's going to be on the card in person. Idubbbz has. He sparred with some of the folks on the card, and they have all said that he's spectacular. This is why it's so
That,
hard because, like, I'm confident in myself, right? I want to say that I'm going to win. But like the reality is, I have no idea. Idubbbz could be a monster, a killer in the ring. He could be the next Floyd Mayweather. Who knows? You know. Um,
who are you? Who've you been sparring? Can you say that?
Yeah, I mean, they're not well-known people. I'm not like going to fight, Canelos of the world, but amateur fighters, some pro fighters, some random guys that are in the gym, just exhibitionists who love fighting, who come to the boxing gym. I'm just putting the work in. I think that just like literally 2 days ago, I posted a selfie of me after sparring, and my nose was all busted up, and I was bleeding all over my shirt. I came home and my producers were and my videographer were ready to film, and they're like, "Dude, can you keep this up?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm ready for it." Like, if you're going into this, you got to be prepared to be a warrior.
That's amazing. Now, listen, when Idubbbz was in here, I asked him, I said, listen, part of it is training, but also you have to study your opponent. Like you have to study his boxing style and stuff like that. And I asked him if he's been studying you. And, he made a comment that he's been watching every single Instagram post or whatever. I'm sure he has more intel other than that. How about you? Are you
There's
looking
nothing
and
to study.
seeking?
That's the problem. Idubbbz, if you're listening,
I know.
post some
Is
stuff,
that
man.
unfair?
Post some stuff, even if it's fake and you're like doing it for the show. Give me something. I need to know something. No, it's. I would love to see something. I would love to see, who I'm fighting or who I'm going against. But I get it's a strategic move. He's being smart. He's not showing his hand, and
How do you prepare for something like
you
that?
got
I
to
mean, you
prepare
don't
for
know if
anything.
he's
That's
going to.
why I'm fighting big guys. I'm fighting smaller guys. I'm fighting fast guys, powerful guys. Like I'm trying to mix it up as much as possible so that I can be prepared no matter what I face in that ring. And again, that's hard to do as someone who's never had a pro fight before. But I'm hoping to come in there prepared and ready to go and surprise the world, shock the world, all those good sayings.
Have you had any milestones in the gym recently where you're like, wow, okay, like I'm gonna do something that really built the confidence up?
I think like the fact that I've been so consistent, I've honestly even surprised myself because not only am I training for boxing 4 times a week with my boxing trainer, I'm also doing like cardio work, conditioning work, the other 3 days of the week, strength training. So, like the fact that I'm able to put in basically 6 days a week worth of training on most days, 2 times a day, while maintaining my job, while doing everything else, to me, that's what I've been most impressed with. Because I thought for sure my body would break down or I would lose my motivation. But the reality is, when you're training for something that has meaning to you, it's so much better than when you're just going to the gym and trying to, beat your last personal record on the bench press. Like to me, this is like a challenge. Like I don't know what to expect, so I have to give it my all. There's no just like sitting on talent because I don't think I have any real talent to sit on. So we'll see.
I have a I have a question. This goes to you and anybody else who's fighting on the Career Clash card. Every previous YouTube boxer, their very first fight, they always said, as soon as that bell rings, they instantly forget everything. It's like the oh shit, this is real moment.
Yeah.
So are you prepared to? Because like Bryce Hall and Holder, they said the same thing happened to them. That it was on a big stage for 1,000 people, and it didn't perform to what they hoped.
Well,
So
see, that's where I
if you're
think I have my advantage. I think that's where my advantage comes in because I perform on a big stage quite often, whether I'm doing live television or like even right before my tour, right before the boxing match, I have my tour. I'm going on tour on a 4 city tour on like a one-man improv show. So like I'm used to the big stage and being there, and I'm hoping that allows me to keep my cool. I will say, if I'm being honest, in my sparring sessions, I've had the moment where the bell rings and I lose my head and I don't know what I'm doing. And my trainer will literally grab my helmet and be like, "What the hell are you doing? Stop doing X, Y, and Z." So it happens to the best of us. And I'm hopeful that I can keep it under control and use my experience to my advantage.
Fight Lounge, we do have either Idubbbz or Idubbbz's wife as listener. If you want to invite them to speak,
okay, okay, I just want to hear Dr. Mike have the floor, but yeah, I definitely send them an invite.
yeah, that'd be nice. Um, Oh man, I think we've kind of went through anything or everything that I had questions for. It's just
Well,
it's hard because we know so little about you from the internet like influencer world, but also the boxing world. So it's going to be really exciting to see how this thing pans out.
Yeah. And I'm really curious what the future of events like this are when they're done right. Because like I said, their team has really done a good job putting this event together. I think this event has legs past even our fight that I'm really excited to create like a culture change here where you can get a lot like there's a lot of influencers who have millions of followers that have reached out both to Ian and I that have asked to be on this card and we simply don't have room for them. So like it's nice to see the fact that people are excited about this and they're actually training and they want to continue doing this. So I think that the future of influencer boxing is here to stay.
I have
No,
two
I
questions.
also agree. The thing with everybody that's been trying to do an event is they want to lock down the market. They want to be the UFC of influencer boxing. But what I've told every single company is that's not going to happen. And the reason why it's not going to happen is because of what you just said. There's so many influencers that want to do this influencer boxing that anybody with a little bit of money can invest and create an event, and they're going to have automatically influencers on there that can promote and sell the event, because those influencers have their own audience. So there's never going to be one.
Yeah, that's true. And there's definitely room for both. I'm also curious to see how different it's going to be having more YouTube and streamer based talent on a card as opposed to like the TikTok predominant event that's happened before because the fans that streamers have are really dedicated fans. Like they make a parasocial connection with their content creators so much so that they're willing to watch them wherever they go. So I'm curious how uh, the subscriptions and the pay-per-view numbers do for streamers as opposed to TikTokers.
Well, I can tell you right now, the streamers numbers are going to be way better, and this is actually the first event that we're going to see streamers, because there hasn't been really a streamer that comes to the top of my mind, and maybe Fight Lounge could help me out, that's been involved in an event. There just isn't. And when you're dealing with TikTokers, those fans are not loyal. They just are not. If you compare a TikTok fan versus a YouTube fan, it's two different worlds. If you compare a Twitch fan to a YouTuber fan, again, it's a whole nother level. Like you're saying, I mean, those people are really passionate
Yeah,
fans.
I completely agree. I think the dedication to subscribe to someone on each platform is different, and each platform allows a different relationship to be created. And each creator, even on the platform, has a different relationship. Like you look at someone as successful as like Markiplier on YouTube, that's going to be completely different from someone like myself. You know, a lot of people watch me for information-based videos and perhaps are not super interested in my personal life. But Markiplier, you know, if he announces that he's going to be training for a boxing match, not saying that he is, I mean, his audience would go through the roof. Like it's wild.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
I have a question. What fights are you looking forward to on Curry Clash?
You know, I've been so locked in on only my fight, but you know who I'm a secret fan of? I guess it's not a secret because we did collab together before. I really want to see Michael Reeves. Like, I'm desperate to see what kind of concoction he's going to walk in with, what's going to be the show that he puts on, because him and I have talked before, and I never pegged him to be the boxing type. So this is like a complete surprise to me. So I'm really excited for that fight.
There's been a few people that have entered the ring, KSI being one of them. I mean, KSI was overweight, like comedian gamer, right? And he turned himself into a boxer and beat Logan Paul. But we've seen this so many times where, you know, there's no way someone can go in and compete in the ring, but they put their mind to it and it actually happens.
Yeah, and look, boxing is beautiful in that, you know, muscles and brawn don't necessarily get you that win. And I think that's, if anything, an argument against me because everyone on social media was quick to point out that maybe I have more muscular photos or something like that. I've taken selfies without my shirt and I'm ripped. So that means like I'm going to win this fight. That's absolutely not true. First of all, because I'm not ripped right now. I kind of have been battling this little bit of a COVID gut over the last few months. And the reality is, being ripped doesn't get you a win in a boxing ring.
Yep, that's absolutely true. Fight Lounge, anything else?
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you was to beat Idubbbz, who your next opponent want to be?
You know, I would love to fight someone who's like outside of the sphere of influencers and also get someone who's like a professional athlete. Like, I would have loved to fight Frank Gore. That would have been epic. That kind of fight would be something that I could dream about. So I'll leave that on the horizon.
I about to say you have connections with MVP. Like if you win, Jacob could definitely make that happen since he's fighting in August.
Yeah, I mean, TBD, that hasn't been discussed at all, but I would love to see if that's a possibility. Again, you have to find someone who's willing to step in the ring. If, as you say, I would have a win at that time, you would be fighting an undefeated fighter. It presents all sorts of challenges, man. It's hard to like figure this out because everyone's very strategic with it, rightfully so. But that's what makes it fun. You know, that's why I'm a big fan of pro boxing. And I've been watching like the last 5, 6 years, just watching the sport evolve and change as Mayweather sort of retired, unretired. And I think it's a fun sport to watch. And I'm actually glad I saw an article come out the other day that boxing is now like the most, or that's the fastest growing sport among young viewers. And I think that's pretty cool because I don't think you have to necessarily get in the ring and hit another person to box. You can do it to stay healthy. You could work and do a class. You can hit pads, and those things are tremendously good for your health.
Dr. Mike, I'm from Buffalo, New York, and you know the gyms around here, the boxing gyms in my area are packed. And I've talked to some of the gym owners, and they said 4 years ago they were empty, and now they're turning people away because they're just so packed. And it is because of influencer boxing making it really popular among the youth. And I just think that's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And I will say, being a member of so many different gyms throughout my lifetime, whether it's basketball gyms, lifting gyms, boxing gyms, potentially the friendliest people in boxing gyms. Like you would think these people are fighters and you should be scared of them. Absolutely not. And like the dingiest of boxing gyms, again, the best of people. Those people will show you around. They'll help you with your form. They won't be like overbearing. I don't know. I've just had some of the best experiences at some of like the simplest boxing gyms ever.
Would you fight? I know I'm gonna name another big name YouTube boxer who's at the moment waiting for an opponent. Would you fight Austin Broom?
I don't know much about Austin McBroom. I don't know what his like size is. I don't know. Does anyone know what he weighs? I'm even curious.
I would say similar, just guessing. I would say maybe 175, 185. Like, I don't know. Maybe that's too much. What do you think, Fight Lounge?
I think it's around there, around that weight.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a possibility. I don't know. I don't know what's been going on with him. He did beat Bryce Hall. Um, that was a pretty nice win.
His major holdup right now, from everything we heard, is money. He's asking for 3 million, 4 million, just crazy amounts of money that would just be impossible. And it just won't happen because his event, which, I commentated and I was a part of, only brought in a little bit over $3 million, the whole event. So to pay him that much just doesn't make sense. So he's been hitting a brick wall trying to get negotiations with Gibb, trying to get a fight with KSI.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, look, if you're asking for a lot of money, you're always going to run into struggles like that. Lucky for me, I'm strictly thinking about this from a charity angle, so I don't have to think about the financials as much. And that's why Creator Clash is special. That's why I think everyone should watch because not only are you going to get a very entertaining show with a lot of great fighters, we have a lot of people on this card. You're also going to be making your dollar go and do some amazing work worldwide.
Anything else, Dr. Mike, before we let you go? Tell the people, why should they tune in and buy this?
Because you will be incredibly surprised that two relatively dorky guys are going to put one hell of a show on for you.
And it's all for charity. Ladies and gentlemen, give some emojis up for Dr. Mike. Dr. Mike, thank you so much for coming on the
Yeah,
program.
thanks so much for having me, guys. Hope everyone tunes in May 14th, Creator Clash. Let's go.
I'll be there.
Let's fucking go. Fight Lounge. Who else do we have on the program tonight?